I'm going to do some paragraph styles. Now, I know there was some frustration in class where you were assigning the styles and things were going wacky. This is the nature of paragraph styles, but you need to stick with it and keep practicing, and I promise it will make sense. This is how a professional sets type. So just please follow along. I'm going to start with my character styles and my paragraph styles. I will put these over here. Now, I'm going to go get my paragraph. So, here we go. So I've got everything in here that I want to have in here. The thing I'd like you to remember, and I just want to mention that I have show hidden characters on. Yeah, that's where all these little weird P's are coming from. I would like you to take out all of these extra paragraph returns. There are extra paragraph returns between each one of these events, and they have got to go, because we as professionals do not set type with paragraph returns. We set it with paragraph space, right over here, paragraph space. And I'll just point out that I have my measurements set to picas. Bear in mind that you do that here in the preferences in units and increments. Okay? Inches are for setting pages and larger things. Picas and points are for setting type. So here is my first of these events. And I think you can see the second one is right up against that one. It's kind of cheek by jowl. So we'll deal with that in a second. But let's start assigning some paragraph styles. So let's begin. I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to make sure as I grab this, because I just want to point something out to you. This is part of the reason people are having problems in class. This has been styled in 13-point Red Hat Display Black. But if I grab this hard return, oh, it is 13 point. Anyway, what I thought was going to happen, was that this would be a different point size and a different typeface. If you grab something to style it, but you don't grab the little backwards P, you can run into problems, because this little backwards P can keep its original styling, and this does the new one. Let me show you what I mean. I'll make that Red Hat display. And if I grab that, see how the little P is still Helvetica, but the type here that I just styled is Red Hat display? That's how you end up with those weird conflicts that people were getting in class. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is if it's picking up the style sheets that were in the Word document that we brought in. Sometimes that can be a little wacky too. Just be patient and keep working. And after a while, you're going to understand why these things are happening. So I'm going to grab the whole blessed thing, and I'm going to come up here. I would prefer you not use the add style sheet. I would prefer you use new paragraph style up here in the corner. And that's because basically what it does is InDesign goes through and analyzes your type and says, okay, these are all the attributes. It pushes the attributes into here. So let's take a look. It's Red Hat display 13 on 15. I don't have any space below, so that's fine. We'll worry about that later. So it's paragraph style 1. I'm going to double click on it and rename it. I'll call it title. I'll call it event title. All right. So there's my event title. Now I'm going to come down here to the next event and style it with event title. It is not enough to create the paragraph styles. You have to implement them. And you have to implement them through the entire document. So I'm going to need to go through here now and find every single event headline, and I'm going to have to apply the event title. Hang on. Now, I just tried to do this here, and it said to me, oh, okay, I'm going to be all wacky. I'm going to make this Arial bold, probably because the original file, the titles were in Arial bold. And I'm going to say, no, 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 no. Listen to me, plus sign. I want you to clear all the overrides. And voila, it has cleared the override. That plus sign is the override. The plus sign is InDesign saying to you, hey, there's something wacky going on here. And when you clear the override, that's you saying, don't be wacky. be what I want you to be. And so if things start looking wacky, try clearing the overrides before you try anything else. All right, let's keep going. So I've got the date as one style. I've got the time as another. If I decided that I wanted these to both be the same style, this is 10 and this is 11, I'm saying something about my hierarchy. But if I didn't, and I wanted these both to, let's say I wanted these both to be 11 point, I could take away the hard return, put my finger on the shift key and hit return and do a soft return. That's if I wanted these two things to be the same size. I'm going to undo that now because I want them to be a slightly different size. So let's do the date. Nope, sorry, didn't mean to do that. New paragraph style. I'll call it date. Again, you see that I'm getting that little hard return. I'll call this time. I will call this name. I will call this title. And each one of these, as I change my typeface, my weight, they're all in different paragraphs. I'll call this title and job, because in some instances we have a job. We'll talk about that in a minute. Now, see how here this is 10 point and this is 12 point? That's a problem because it's all one paragraph. And so if I highlight it, you'll notice the number disappears. That's because you can't have two different sizes in the same paragraph. I got to pick a lane here. So I'm going to shoot the moon and pick 11. All right. So I'll grab that. Now, it says body copy. So what happens if I say redefine the style? Et voila. Now it's picking up this change that I made. I made it 11 point type. You mustn't think that because you're setting these styles, you're locked in. All of this stuff is fluid. Now here's the one that was messing people up in class. This is a character style. It's a bold inline. We're going to deal with this in class. So for now, I'm going to grab this part. You can only have one at a time as a paragraph style. So I'm going to grab this part and I'm going to say, what do I call this? Category. All right. We're going to do this part in class using a character style. These are characters. So we'll select the characters we want and we'll apply the character style. We'll do it in class. So now that I've done this, I have to implement every one of these. So let's see. Title and job, name, time, and date. So all of these have to be applied. Something that I like to do, I grab everything, and body copy is the one that we use the most, so I'm going to apply body copy. All right, I'm just grabbing everything and applying body copy. And I think you can see that InDesign is saying to me, hello, there's an override. And you can see it's not in my body copy style. And I say, well, what the heck is going on? Probably there's something left over from the previous file. We just roll with it. I go over here and I say, clear those ding-dang overrides. Et voila, I am in the body copy style. All right, I'm going to nuke these extra hard returns. And let me just zoom in and show you. If you want to try and delete this, you're going to come over from the left and pull to the right and delete it. All right, you're going to make sure all of those are out of there. We don't want any of them. All right. So now I'm just going to go through my document. And you know what? The type might not always walk your way. You're going to have to go through it. So this is not the event title. This is the date. This is the time. This is the name. Now, there are two lines here. Graphic designer, photographer, design teacher, Nigel French graphic design. Both of these are title and job. See the extra space? The reason that's happening is because there's a hard return here. InDesign says, new paragraph, babe. And I'm going to say, nope. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to delete that hard return. I'm going to put my finger on the shift key and the return key at the same time. You can see what the soft return looks like. Soft returns are a way to kind of sculpt the type. We'll talk more about that in class when we talk about hyphenation. So this is starting to come together, but I can already see some things I want to change. I've got to put some extra space here. And because these headlines appear at regular intervals, I'm going to add some space in front of the event title. I've been consistently adding space behind. In this one instance, I'm going to add space in front of. So I'm going to double click. And here's the first line indent. Absolutely everything that is available in the paragraph and the character style windows is available here. All right, and if I hit the preview button, whoops, wrong one, sorry. It's over here, space before. And you can see this, what's happening here, the reason this type is all moving down is because there's space here. So it may be that in this first one, when I do the session highlights, I may need to fudge it a little bit. But for now, yeah, this is good. Here's another one. This is way too tight. So I'm going to go into event title again, and this time I'm going to add some space after. And again, if I keep my preview button on, I can watch it happen. Okay? The two ways that we add space between lines is leading, which is up here. And a lot of you were leaded out unbelievably, which is why the spacing was so spacious. So watch your lead. When I do leading, it's usually +2. So if it's 10-point copy, I'll do 10-point copy, 12-point lead. I'll do 11-point copy, 13-point lead. Here you can see I've leaded this out kind of generously, but it's not a bad rule of thumb to do +2. But then the paragraph space gets added between the paragraphs. All right? So for your homework, I want you to go in and just add your paragraph styles. I don't want to see any overrides, okay? That's our stated goal. That's what I would like you to work on. I want everything on this page, let's say all the events on the page, I want every single one of them to have an assigned paragraph style. Just go through, get your styles in order, and start assigning them. Figure out what you want. All right? And again, I'm going to do this again. In this case, soft return will do me. And if I grab all of this and say title and job, this is already in body copy. If I grab this and say category, and I'm ready to move on again. And I'll say event title. By the way, you can rearrange where these sit in your window if that makes more sense. All right? That's your homework. All right. Slack me with questions.